Speaking moistly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our usual Tuesday afternoon Speaking Moistly with me, as usual. Sorry, I'm tripping all over my words here. Our better host, Greg. Greg, how you doing, buddy?
Better host. That's so gracious of you. I'm doing good because I have faith in the Lord. How are
Indeed.
you?
Indeed. Man, well, right there with you, man. So we were talking just in the green room and we just turned on the camera because I thought, man, like we might as well talk about this, like,
Yeah.
because I haven't heard this story, and you were watching Rage's channel. We were talking about arrests and the arrest of Randy Hillier and the arrest of
That's right.
Arthur Pulowski and
Yep.
Artur Pulowski, excuse me. And you started talking about Jeremy McKenzie and saying that his experience in jail was kind of crazy. So can you relay what? And this is
Yeah.
not like you're not telling tales or anything like that. He put this on a live stream. So
Yeah, this is on a live stream on Derek Rant's channel, which we could put a link in the description of that, perhaps. But it was a live stream of like when he first got out of the clink, out of jail. But yeah, just to be clear with everyone watching, like we don't live in a free country anymore at all. But essentially, long story short, Jeremy was outside of like Dr. Strang's house, who was like the chief medical officer of Nova Scotia. He was there with a small group of protesters. And there was even like RCMP officers out there as well. Apparently, Raging's like now girlfriend or whatever, Morgan called the RCMP or called them ahead of time, just be like, hey, we're doing a demonstration outside of the chief medical officer's house, just so you know. And they were there the whole time watching them do their little protest demonstration. Like it was pretty humble, to be honest. It wasn't anything too extravagant, just some signs or whatever. And then after they left that night, the police showed up and caught up with them and arrested himself and Morgan, Jeremy McKenzie and Morgan, and then threw them not just in the police station, but they actually transferred them to like an institution, like an actual incarceration center. Jeremy was in solitary confinement,
Really?
yeah, full on solitary confinement for 3.5 days that they were there. And while he was there, Jeremy was saying that he saw people come in on like firearms charges, like cocaine possession, and like get bail before him, like just kind of like get like, you know, like in and out, people with blood all over them, you know, in and out. And he's in there. They delayed his bail hearing until Friday. They wanted to delay it for an entire week, but they were like, thankfully he had a good lawyer. Thankfully he has a good lawyer who's like, you know, not cheap. So he was like, this lawyer was like fighting for him, making sure that the bail hearing happened. I think he went in on Tuesday and then the bail hearing was on Friday. Right. So 3.5 days, but,
which is too long.
And then during the bail hearing, there was like a lot of, apparently Jeremy had to look through his little slit in his window, being in solitary. I'm laughing, but it's like totally messed up.
Yeah, it's terrible. It sounds terrible.
Yeah, and Jeremy was talking about how, you know, he's been in the military. He's a, you know, Afghan vet, and he was talking about how he used his CAC protocol, which is conduct after capture. And I told them, I'm like, that's kind of funny because, you know, you're basically imprisoned in your own country and you feel like you're a prisoner of war. And it's like, yeah, it seems kind of accurate. You're kind of getting arrested for what? For, you know, saying, hey, why haven't you gotten rid of the mask mandates in Nova Scotia? But like, that's essentially his crime.
Says Greta.
Yeah. And you know, and all these people will argue, oh well, he's outside of his house and It's like, well, he actually basically works there. He doesn't go to his job. He doesn't go to any office anymore. The chief medical officer works from home over Zoom. So it's like, hello. But
there's a lot of kind of controversy around that one way or the other. Like people were saying when there were protests outside of Doug Ford's house that, you know, that should be off limits and nobody should ever do that. And then the counter argument as well, like you come into people's homes, you come to people's jobs and you mandate that they do these things. Like you're directly coming to people's places of employment and homes to, you know, put your mandates on these people. Like you're locked in your house, etc. So like, right. So turnabout's fair play, but what are you going to like?
And also like during the same time, I think when the Doug Ford thing was happening, was it Notley in Alberta who was like, we need to go door to door to like give people their
Oh, yeah.
injections.
Yeah,
And
they
it's
were
like,
saying
you're
that.
telling
Yeah.
us not to go to the homes of a public official, and you're like going to the homes of residences to sell them this pharmaceutical product. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
but anyway, I'll just wrap it up. There was the negotiations for the bail hearing, and there was a time where they're like, okay, here are your bail conditions, like you can't even use the internet.
Mhm.
And Jeremy was like, no, like I need the internet to work, to do my job, that's what I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And also I can't even talk to my children,
Yeah.
like like I need that to talk to my children. I have crypto investments, like you're
Yeah.
basically like, this is totally unreasonable.
Yeah.
And then they reduced it to his speech conditions are essentially he cannot name public officials, I believe it is. He can't name elected officials specifically. So, and I think the other thing is he can't encourage people to protest either, is
Hmm.
the other thing. But he has like very specific speech conditions. And obviously we can start talking about Randy as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So
it's,
Randy,
and before we turn the camera on, I was talking about it, like it's just like a normalizing thing now to just have like speech restrictions.
well,
Uh
they can't, here's the thing. This is what they're trying to do. They can't legally restrict protesting, but they can take out the leaders of the protest and prevent them from talking to each other or speaking about protesting or encouraging people to protest. So if you
like
get,
and my question is, how are they able to do that legally?
they're,
You
well,
know?
because they're saying that they're targeting a specific behavior in specific individuals. It's very similar to how a social credit score would work. And you can't, there's
So
somebody, there's a
I was
doc.
just gonna,
Go ahead.
just to kind of go against what you just said. Oh, they can't stop people from protesting. They're calling protests mischief and charging people with mischief. So they're already stopping people. Like they're already charging people for protesting. Essentially, like
Yes.
that's essentially what's happening. So
Yeah.
they can
Is
stop
this,
people
yeah,
from
well, right,
protesting,
right,
and they
right.
are.
Is this an example of lawcraft, right? Like, or lawfare? Is it lawfare or lawcraft? I can't remember.
What is that? I don't know what
Using
that is.
the law to chill a behavior. So like,
Mm,
well, an example of lawcraft is, Black Locks Reporter.
yes, they do
So
great stuff.
yeah, so the government bought a one password, like one subscription to Blacklocks, and they shared the password like 500 times, and like with a bunch of different departments and everything like that, and that's illegal, right? Like, and that's like specifically outlined in the terms of service. You can't do that. So Blacklocks took them to court, and it's been 10 years. So this is an example of lawcraft or lawfare, I can't remember, where like we're just going to make it so ridiculously expensive for you because we're gonna keep adjournments and whatever, and then so you have to have a lawyer who's like, okay, we've been trying this case for 10 years, like how nobody makes any money on this, right? Like, and so
Oh, you're
it's
saying
like
instead of like
legally dry.
Warcraft,
Yeah,
it's being lawcraft.
they're
Yeah.
using the law as a weapon. They're using the
Oh yeah.
right, and so that's what they're trying to accomplish at an individual level. And the social
They're
credit
they're
score,
just they're just trying to keep us safe, man.
the social credit score is meant to, like, you just get discounted, like right as soon as you start lodging your complaint, you're removed from the queue, you're done. Like, sorry about your luck, your complaint goes nowhere. Sorry about, you thought you had a say, oh no, your social credit's not high enough, you have to be nicer, right? You have to agree with the zeitgeist
Mhm.
of what we all agree with. And like, you see more middle management, like cities doing this, but they're also, cities are denying, and provinces are also denying access to information. They're just saying like, oh, our policies state that you don't have access to this. It's like, no, you can't do that, but they are doing it. So
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and like of course we need to mention Randy Hillier,
yeah,
who has also gotten speech restrictions on his bail conditions, and then
yep.
also Artur Pawlowski, who's been in and out of jail, I don't even know how many times.
I don't
But
even know how they can justify holding him for as long as they've held him. Maybe like get Rage's lawyer over there, or whoever's Hillier's
well,
lawyer over there.
that's certainly a good question, because I mean,
How can they justify that?
did Randy have a really great lawyer? Like
See,
and this is the thing that's kind of that's scary about this whole lawcraft stuff is like, what is the true allegiance of these lawyers? Don't forget, a lot of these crooked politicians
Ka-ching.
are lawyers, like
Themselves lawyers. Yeah, meet my lawyer, Stephen Harper. Or he was an economist, wasn't he? Well, and like, so everybody's allegiance is to the almighty dollar. There are good lawyers out there, I'm sure, just like there are good real estate agents and ones to avoid, I'm sure. And like I've seen lawyers do good work. Ryan O'Connor's one. He was doing a whole bunch of work for gyms to get them open for people through the lockdown. And nice. Abner is Randy Hillier's lawyer, David Abner. I think I'm saying that right, or Amber or Abner. I can't remember if the N goes first. Anyway, regardless, so they're doing work to help people, but it's going to cost a lot of money. Like if and that's not in most people's plan. You know what I mean? Like that's not an ideal way to spend money in like on legal fees, etc. So that's a really disruptive thing, but not as disruptive as being in jail for 50 days, Artur Pawlowski, right? So it's so crazy that we're talking about political dissidents being jailed for supporting, for giving sermons and supporting trucker protests. Like that's where we've fallen in this country. And that's scary to me.
Yeah, and really the kind of cherry on top of the cake of feces is we're talking about it, and then who else is talking about it? Like who else is talking about? Oh yeah, we jail political dissidents in Canada now. By the way, and we silence and muzzle them.
Yeah, Joe Warmington was talking about it, but like that's Sun and in Toronto and Ontario, the Sun media was kind of seen as the right wing media.
Like this is what not very many people. Like it's Maxime Bernier's mentioned it a little bit. Like Rebel News has mentioned it a little.
Polyev didn't mention it.
I noticed that for sure.
I know.
You know what he talked about? He said Bitcoin is the capital, and we're going to be the capital of the blockchain in Canada. What are you talking about, bro? What? We're going to be the freest ever. By the way, all your transactions are recorded. We're going to be the freest ever. By the way, all your transactions.
Well, so Bitcoin is decentralized with all sorts of nodes, so you have more control over that.
Have you seen the recent thing that came out about Coinbase?
Anything over any transfer over $1,000, you have to tell, like if you do it through Coinbase, you have to tell them who you're transferring to. Yes, I heard that. But you can transfer direct. I mean, you have to transfer out of your exchange into your own wallet, and then you can transfer it wherever you want without telling anybody anything. But like I know they're trying to crack down on crypto. Not that I'm skeptical of crypto. I'm sure crypto is great.
They're not trying to crack down on crypto. They're trying to get a handle on it so they can have
they're trying to take control of it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
The main goal is control. I agree with that.
100%. Because if you own all of the shell companies, all of like the feature companies that kind of work as a what's the word? Like as the operative,
layers of protection.
Well, you can only engage with crypto through certain platforms, right? Like if they own all of the platforms, or if they control all of the platforms to use and engage and transact with crypto, then it's like you kind of control crypto. But I don't really want to go too deep into that topic. But yeah, you're going to be the freest ever. I'm Pierre Polyev. By the way, I'm not going to talk about the people being thrown in jail right now for standing up for their freedoms. Okay, very cool. Very cool.
He went to the protest. Like, and so him and Candace Bergen did, and then Candace Bergen. I'm trying to rehash what happened, right? Like, he did support the He did. The same as Candace Bergen, and then they flipped it around and said time to go home, and I was like, there you go. There's the turn, right? So like same as all the rest, but everybody knows that the CPC has issues, and there's going to be a lot of people who want to believe it, and they're going to go along with it.
Yeah, it's a total mess. It's a total mess.
It sure is.
It's very, very lame. It's very lame. But what else were we going to talk about? Mess of the country.
Well, I mentioned Omar Al-Ghurba being vindictive about the transport stuff, and we were talking again in the green room just about how, you know, justice, right? Like the justice in this country is severely lacking because they being our liberal ministers are more focused on censoring the internet than they are on really meaningfully fixing the catastrophe that they seem to have caused by their bad policy. So like an example is Omar talking about leveling all those charges against the people on the Mexico flight. Another example is Melanie Joly saying we need wartime censorship of the internet because Ukraine, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you feel influenced by any Russians?
Like, well, but to stay on topic here though, like we have liberal cabinet ministers who are all acting kind of like, hey, we're going to persecute our own citizens more, and an exclamation point. Isn't that great? Yes. Oh, by the way, we're gonna center more
for your safety.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
I'm a liberal minister, by the way.
Yeah,
you know, we've had quite the progression over the past 2 years, where at the beginning it was, hey, we're going to use public health loopholes to take your freedoms away and in the name of safety. And now it's got to the point where it's like, hey, we are going to actively, you know, crush you if you don't obey, you know, certain rules, brand new rules that we just came up with, were never really debated about. Because now we have
go through the House of Commons.
Yeah,
their mandates through Section 22 orders.
Yeah, we have such a streamlined system now to just do whatever we want.
Yeah. Tune in tomorrow for Doug Ford's new press conference about our new restrictions and rules that we're allowed to live by. For the next
and now the populace is induced with so much fear with, you know, the regular virus stuff, and on top of that, war. So now it's like, hey, we're gonna stop propaganda. By the way, like, Putin you're terrified, so don't worry about it. It's just...
victory. He declared victory. Yeah. He landed on an aircraft carrier and he got out and he was in a flight suit. And oh no, wait, that was George W. Bush in Iraq. Never mind. But he did. He said May 9th they're going to leave or something like that. They defeated Nazis then, and May 9th, I think it was May 9th was the day.
Yeah, I think it's super disappointing because it's there. The normies, the mushy middle, or like the indoctrinated leftists, whatever, like they're so kind of stricken with fear that they really are like zombies, you know, like it really is like dealing with these like programmed robots who are like, well, that's just the thing. And, you know, and in reality, another aspect of it is, you know, they used to call it fatigue, the COVID fatigue. And it's like, that's just kind of carrying on in a way. Like people are just like so fed up. I think there's a Nietzsche quote about, if you give people enough, eventually they'll give so much information out freely to people, so much that they'll be like, I don't even want this information anymore. Just like, tell me what to do. And I think that's kind of like the point where we're at in history, where people are like, just tell me what to do, daddy. Like, I'm tired of all this confusing information. Can you just tell me what to think?
Yeah, the information is confusing on purpose, and it's contradictory on purpose, and it's done to wear you down, done to tire you out, right?
Yeah.
So like, and it's done so that you don't know what story to tell yourself, because you need a cohesive story to understand the world in, right? Like this is where we're at. This is where, as a society, we're going, and I'm going as a person within that society, you know.
And I think that what us, like, I don't want to say right wingers, but like what us freedom fighters, what us, like, you know, awake people need to like focus on is, you know, what is just a distraction and what is actually productive. Like what should we actually be focusing our efforts on? Because it is sort of, you know, sometimes I'll scroll down my feed and I'll see people getting excited about, you know, Will Smith like slapping somebody at the Oscars, for example. And it's like, I'm gonna comment on that too. I'm gonna comment on that too, because I'm only human. But it's also like, I don't know. Is there? We need to focus here, guys. And like, for example, even talking about, I don't know what necessarily the answer is, but I think that we need to not be naive at all anymore. Like we need to realize that, for example, like Pierre Polyev, like is not your friend. And unless maybe this is the answer. Unless we are pushing the Overton window in the other direction, then we're wasting our time. And what I mean by that is like when we compromise, when we kind of have this sort of same brain dead optimism, because if you talk to the normies, they have this brain dead optimism that things will just go better. They'll just go back to normal eventually. We just need to sign away all of our freedoms, and then things will go back. Oh, we just need one more booster, then things will go back to normal.
The reason that they're doing that is confirmation bias. Like the world has never betrayed them at this level before. Their doctors have never betrayed them before. And realizing that is a difficult thing to go through. It's like if you fell for that, what else did you fall for? And you have to really suffer.
But I'm saying that, freedom fighters have their own version of that with the Conservative Party, where it's like, oh, okay, well, the Conservative Party hasn't completely abandoned us. We still have hope with Pierre Polyev. We still have hope with them.
Yeah.
We a lot of people think that. And I think what's happening right now with the people being imprisoned, people being thrown in jail for having the wrong political opinion, I think there's a lot of people out there who are seeing this news and they're like, this can't be happening. This is like, they're seeing it, but they're not like consciously, they're not connecting with it on like, this is happening.
Yeah.
Like this is happening in Canada. Like, what does this is a big deal. Like so
in like Poland or in other places that have gone through like a history of Nazism or a takeover of communists or whatever, they would be able to see the signs and be like, no, like we've done this before. We're not going to fall for your lies again this time. But in Canada, we don't have that history. You know what I mean? Like our history is not one of that style of authoritarian government. We've always, not always, but in modern history, in the people who are alive now, most of the time, the government has, according to them, and it's not always been true, but according to the people, by and large, the mushy middle, the masses, right? Like not individual people, but like by and large, the general population, the government hasn't betrayed them. And so because it hasn't happened, that leads to confirmation bias of because it hasn't happened, it won't happen, right? Like look at history, like, oh, that didn't happen here, and so could never happen here. And I've never experienced anything like that, and I'm 40 years old, so why could it happen here? But like as you watch it unfold, that's just what people think. Like when you try and tell somebody, like I really think that things are going to change, and if you don't take control of how things are going to change, then you are at the mercy of how things change wherever you are. So what I mean by that is like, if you say, okay, I'm going to cash out and I'm going to run for the hills and find like a place and have a farm and work it and be very simple and, not Mennonite, but, whatever. Like a rural Mexican village or a rural Greek village or something like that. And your food supply is very small. It'll be a very big adjustment to what you currently live like, but compared to maybe what's unknown in the future, possible, starvation, et cetera, might be better, but maybe not. Right. And there's no way to know. And it's that risk balance. People don't believe it will get that bad. So making that trade doesn't sound like a good trade. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It's never been this bad, so why would it ever be that bad?
Right. Yeah. So why would I give up my first class world? Like why would I give all this up for something that, maybe a stable food supply, but not much else. Right. And so you can't make that decision maybe correctly, but maybe you are making it correctly. Maybe it's not going to get that bad in North America. Who knows? I don't know. We live right next door to Saskatchewan, right? Maybe our crackers go up by a couple of bucks, but nobody starves. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what else is there to say?
The new Spider-Man was pretty cool. Did you see the new Spider-Man?
The Homecoming one? Or
there was a new one. No, it was a new one. I
didn't see it.
No, it was good. It was pretty entertaining. It was a little like, so the new Matrix was kind of flat, right? But I enjoyed the new Matrix, but and this one was kind of flat. Like, but I thought it was pretty good.
You enjoyed the new Matrix?
I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah, I did. I thought Morpheus was like, I thought it was such a parody. Like I thought it was such a bad parody. I thought Morpheus was hilarious, right? And they did all the like it was so
okay.
like,
You enjoyed it. You enjoyed it ironically.
Right. I thought it was like, well, at the end, I was like, that was a fun ride. Like imagine that, huh? Right. And like,
yeah. So that reminds me of the final Star Wars. Do you watch Star Wars?
No, because there was a CGI character that I couldn't get past in the Rise of the Skywalker or the one before that, the Last Jedi or something like that. I can't remember which one it was, but there was a character who was alive in like the 1970s or whatever, but he died. So they used him as a base and then like aged his character. And he was supposed to be some admiral or something like that. And I just couldn't get past the CGI was so awful. But I was like,
they did a CGI of like one of the actual characters, characters.
They did CGI, aged CGI of like an actor cut from.
That's what you were hung up on.
I was like, I can't watch this.
You weren't hung up on the abysmal writing.
Like, I didn't even get to the writing. Like I saw one clip and I was like, oh, that looks like terrible CGI. And then I said, I asked my friend at the job I was at the time, I said, is that character CGI? And he Googled it. And he's like, oh yeah. And like people are talking about it already. I was like, oh yeah, it's terrible. I said, I'm not even gonna watch this. It's garbage.
So the reason I brought up Star Wars in that context is like, it sounds like you didn't think the new Matrix was like a good movie, but it was enjoyable. It was a fun cinematic experience.
I thought it was a fun romp. Yeah.
Right.
Like,
right.
But so, it did not promote any kind of gender ideology or race ideology. It was just like telling a story, and like I could sit there and be like, okay. And then at the end they were like, and then
so you enjoyed it because it wasn't filled with woke politics in your
because
face.
it wasn't propagandizing me the whole damn time. And at the end though, at the end they tried to make it about Trinity and stuff, and people didn't like that.
Pretty low bar.
But I thought it is a low. Yeah, welcome to 2022. But I thought that it wasn't the point that it was Trinity. The point was that it was both of them. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, that's not woke.
I didn't see it. Spoilers, by the way. I didn't see it. Oh yeah,
sorry.
But I'm reminded of the Rise of Skywalker, which was the 9th movie. It was the final like Star Wars and the final trilogy. It was an absolute
awful.
It was such flaming hot garbage the whole way through that it was actually enjoyable. Like it was, it was an enjoyable cinematic experience because
maybe I missed it.
Wow, like it's like it's the storytelling is so bad and just shoved down your throat that it's actually kind of amazing. Like it's actually kind of incredible. Like in the first minute, someone pointed out in the first minute of the movie, you go to like 5 different planets. There's like all this exposition, and like the dialogue is actually hilarious. It's oh well, what happened? Oh well, I guess this is what happened. Oh, I guess that explains that then. Like it's just
oh like right, because I heard some
entire backstory is just like summarizing like
because they brought back what's his name, right? So big spoilers for that too. But Star Wars jumped the shark big time.
Yeah, it was actually
maybe
enjoyable.
Maybe
I actually really enjoyed it.
Maybe we should review movies. Maybe that'll be our future in Canada. Mark and Greg review movies. It'd be fun.
Yeah, it could be. Why not?
Talk about movies. Hey, wow, there you go.
Yeah. When we're all locked up in our pods in China,
we'll be the new Siskel and Ebert. People will be allowed to spend their Canada digital credit bucks on our wares and things. What a nightmare.
So depressing to talk about, bro.
Okay, well, I gotta go pick up my kids. And I mean, I was just joking, but like, we could be the new Siskel and Ebert.
We need to save this country. Okay, we need to save this country from Digibucks.
Canada Digibucks. I mean, we called them the loony and the toonie. Like, we're nuts. Like Canadians are a little nuts. We're a little kind of like, that'd be funny, eh?
But they have animals on it. They got a loon on it, and you got a polar bear on it. It's cool. Okay,
that's cool.
Loony, toonie, double. Yeah, like this is happening.
My son's knocking, so we're going to end the show. Thanks for watching out there, everybody. I hope we brought you a couple laughs, and there's some very serious things going on, but and protect yourself, but also take some time to sniff the roses and all that too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. And Greg, always fun hanging out with you. Hang out for a second in the green room though.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cheers. We'll catch you all next time.